Hiya, I'm James and today I'm going to be cooking my favourite dessert, which is an apple tartatin. So for this we've got some Braeburn apples. You could use Pink Ladies, Cox apples work as well. You could use most types. Some caster sugar, so 100 grams of caster sugar. Some puff pastry. This one is a pre-rolled one, but a block would work equally well. Just roll it out yourself, and just some unsalted butter. You need a heavy base pan, that's really important, one that can go in the oven. You could also use a frying pan, as long as it's okay and the handle can be put into the oven. But in an ideal world, one with quite a thick bottom like this, but yeah, just an oven-proof pan. So first job, we're just going to peel our apples. So just take them all the way off. So, once they're all peeled, we just cut them in half, straight down the centre. And then we just take the core out of these by cutting them in a triangle. So just in a V shape that way, and then that way. And just place them down on the bench. You could, if you've got an apple core, which is great, I haven't got one, but just take the centre straight out. But otherwise, just like this, really gently, so you're being safe with your fingers. You shouldn't be pushing hard enough to actually cut yourself. And then we'll just take all them cores out. Once they're done, we're going to turn our hob on to high, add our sugar to it, and some water, so roughly half the water, just enough to dissolve the sugar really, to stop it from burning too soon. You don't have to add water to a caramel, it's just a bit safe, and it does stop that risk of the caramel getting too dark too quick. So have that on max. You need to keep an eye on it, but it is going to take around 3, maybe 4 minutes to caramelise. So once you see the edge begin to turn amber, we'll just keep moving it by swirling the pan and keep a close eye on it. At this stage, you need to be all over it because it's going to start caramelising. As soon as it does, it happens really quick. So you've got a few seconds between it going this amber colour, which it is now, to being burnt. So you see it's starting to smoke. We really want to get it nice and dark, and we're going to stop it. If I stop, I mean stop it from going too dark with butter. So just on and off the stove as and when you need, just to keep it cool. And see that is literally seconds from it being clear to almost burnt, and it's just, there we go. And now add our butter to stop it from going too far. Just be really careful at this stage. This is boiling hot sugar, it will peel your skin off if it touches you, so I can't express enough. Get your kids out of the way, and if you want to wear some gloves or an oven mitt, but just be really careful because it does rise up. So if you've got a shallow pan, there's a possibility it could come over the sides. Don't ever drop the pan or panic, just keep hold of it and move over to a safe space, because it could be really dangerous at that stage if you were to, drop it and you've got really hot caramel going everywhere. But as you can see, that butter stopped it now. It stopped it from burning. It's a really dark amber colour, and then you can wait for it to cool down if you do like. If not, go straight in with your apples all the way around the edge. So that's 7 apples this time. Sometimes it's 6, sometimes it's 5. It really does depend on the size of the apples. So what we're going to do now, we've got a lovely little pattern. We're going to pop it back on our stove for a second, on really low as you can keep your stove. We're just going to leave it to tick over, gently soften the apples down. We're going to put it on there for about 3 or 4 minutes, just till the apple will soften, the caramel softens again, and then we'll be ready to roll out our pastry and add it to the top. The apple's been ticking over for a couple of minutes now. The caramel's nice and soft. Underneath, they soaked all that caramel flavour up, so we'll just lift it off the heat now. And then we've got our puff pastry. If it was a block that isn't pre-rolled, we just roll it out to a couple of millimetres thickness, and then find something that's the same size. So this pan's fluted down like that, so I just need something that size, and we'll cut roughly half a centimetre larger than the object, just so we can tuck the edges down. My son's fault, that's ideal. We just need something to be able to push the pastry down without ripping it. Obviously the caramel's going to be really, really hot, so you just watch your fingers. Really push down into the edges. So that pastry's going to wrap right around the apples as it bakes. And really, most people's favourite bit of an apple tartan, is the pastry that's soaked up all that lovely caramel, buttery goodness. So really get that stuck into the edges. And it will stop the lid as well, because obviously this is going to be the base when we turn it over. It will stop it, the sides coming out, and you end up with like a flat flan. You want it to really cup the apples. So we're in there like that, and all we'll do, put a few pricks all over the top of the puff pastry to stop it rising up too much, because we don't really want that. We want it to stay nice and flat, nicely close to the apples. So quite a few holes. And then in the oven on about 170 for between 25 to 35 minutes until the pastry is really nice dark golden brown. So just check it after 20 minutes and then check it every few minutes therearound. The apple tart has had about half an hour now. We cook it, bake it until it's golden brown on top. So it might range between 25 minutes up to 40 minutes, but that's what we're looking for. We can just let it rest on the side for a minute or so, just to let the caramel cool down slightly, and set the tart a little bit, because the pastry will still be quite soft at this stage. And it's just really, really important to note that pan is roasting. It's okay on my wooden table, but don't put it on a work surface. Always hold a towel, maybe two, and just be really, really conscious of how dangerous caramel is for your skin. So after it's a little cool down, just give it a light wobble to loosen up from the sides, and then place a plate over the top. Just make sure the plate's definitely big enough to cover the whole pan, so there's no caramel that can escape. And then if you ask for people to be out of the way when you do it, just in case, as you flip it, you could quite easily get some with hot caramel. So turn it over in one movement, and we should just be able to lift that off. Like so, straight up. And there we go, so that's the apple tartan. This would work with loads of other fruits, exactly the same method. Enjoy.